Tales of the Walking Dead has given us yet another Alpha origin story, and fans aren't quite happy with it. Now, it wasn't a bad episode, but there's something that we just can't seem to wrap our heads around. That is, it completely contradicts the initial Alpha origin story we got back when the Whisperers first appeared on the show. What was it, and how has Tales of the Walking Dead ruined it? Stick around to find out. Starting off with the Alpha Beta origin story. The hardcore TWD fans probably remember Season 10's Episode 2, We Are the End of the World. It famously told the tale of Alpha and Beta's first encounter. The episode aired way back in October 2019 during the before times. Yep, even before the pandemic and all the madness that ensued. Back then, Alpha wasn't a Whisperer yet, nor was Beta, and although their first meeting was not the best, they eventually managed to become friends. Many also remember the zombie whose face Beta carves off at the end of the scene has some special meaning for him. It's the same face he uses for his Whisperer mask. This is also when she gives them the names Mrs. A and Mr. B. This episode came to be known as both Alpha and Beta, or the Whisperers' collective origin story. And while they didn't show that faction, the face mask Beta carved appeared to be a foreshadowing of what was to come. Alpha and Beta represent the first and second of something, and well, it's safe to assume that particular something to be the Whisperers. But Tales of the Walking Dead didn't bother much about it. Without saying it loud, the episode from The Walking Dead seemed to paint a pretty accurate picture of how the Whisperers got their start. But Tales of the Walking Dead not only deviates from that origin story, it also messes up all sense of continuity. So here's what went down. As most of you may already know, Samantha Morton, who plays Alpha, now known as Dee, and her daughter Lydia are staying on an old steamboat on a river in the south with a woman named Brooke, who's in charge of the steamboat community. And let's just say her leadership style is essentially the bread and circus strategy. She loves throwing fancy, extravagant parties where guests are expected to dress nicely. And guess what? She leaves the boat's external lights on despite the possible unwanted attention it might attract at night. Why? Well, because she seems more concerned with appearances than with common sense. This obviously rubs Alpha, or D, the wrong way. The situation is made worse by Lydia's crush on Brooke, who absolutely adores her and constantly criticizes D for her behavior or lack of maternal instincts. Lydia would gladly exchange her mother with this more modern, attractive, and sweeter substitute. But you know, all that glitters isn't gold. D comes across Billy, who's one of the boat's newcomers, and has instantly got D thinking. He's rude and dismissive when he serves her drinks at the bar. It almost seems as if there's a reason why he doesn't want her around. Whatever it is, he's clearly pissed her off. Billy is giving her really bad vibes, and it isn't because he's rude or sassy, but something about his demeanor doesn't sit right with Dee, and she isn't afraid to let others know about it when an elderly man goes missing too. While she presses the point and confronts him, Billy screams that she's trying to stab him and dives into the water to swim away. The next day, she sees him signaling from the shore with a mirror. Super sus, right? Well, despite Billy's super shady actions and obvious BS, which by the way even Brooke knows since she was standing right there and basically saw that Dee wasn't trying to stab him, she still ends up criticizing Dee again. But she's vindicated when Billy later returns with 5 more thugs who are all carrying loaded weapons. They shoot at the passengers to clear the way, killing many in the process. Dee shows up being, well, Alpha, of course, and takes action quickly by slitting one of Billy's men's throats and confiscating his gun. She then lets off a few shots before diving over the side and running to the shore with Lydia. She has to fight off some zombies in this area, and she and Lydia, who are both covered in blood, hide under a dead walker. The zombies pick off stragglers from the boat except Brooke, who manages to survive. But she hasn't learned anything from the incident. Brooke, quite shockingly and stubbornly, claims that the entire incident is in fact Alpha's fault when she finds her, even though she was the one who warned everyone about Billy and was simply trying to be cautious. Understandably, by this point, Alpha is so done with Brooke that she's about to offer when Lydia shows up and intervenes. After this potentially fatal face-off, they part ways with Brooke and move ahead on their own, eventually stopping to rest. We then see Lydia, who's been babbling on and on about encountering fairies in the woods. Alpha ponders over the situation for a moment and then decides that this wasn't a place, a world for a child to grow up in, but just as she's about to kill her own daughter, she ends up hearing the voices too. The entire time, Alpha has been telling the story, and at the end we find out she was speaking to the Whisperer's leader, the blonde woman who had just invited her in and whom she is now about to kill. But hold on a second, something isn't adding up. Where is Beta? And whatever happened to that whole origin story? How are they called the Whisperers if Alpha and Beta didn't create them? And isn't it odd that they would choose to identify as A and B purely by coincidence? And why is Alpha's head not shaved when she meets the Whisperers but gets shaved when she meets Beta before she even becomes a Whisperer? We don't understand if the timeline has been altered, ignored, or if the creators of the show simply forgot to include the first origin story episode when creating this one. It seems to us like the writers either forgot about the initial flashback episode or just threw the baby out with the bathwater. Or maybe this is the beginning of the Walking Dead multiverse with alternate timelines. Hey, does that mean Rick will be in a new story? Maybe the Andrea he meets in this version is not the one from the show, but the one from the comics. Whatever the case, The Walking Dead's most recent episode is still pretty good, despite being oddly timed given how long ago the Whisperer conflict ended. Not to mention Samantha Morton is always fantastic and menacing, and she's exactly all that with a wee bit more humanity here. We'd even go so far as to say that we prefer this complex D to Alpha, who was somewhat of a cartoonish antagonist. Give us nuanced characters over crazy monsters any day. We really hope the creators cleared this one out because it's super disappointing to see them completely mold a storyline into something that it was never meant to be. Now, let's have a look at some other related news. First up, Walking Dead's Jeffrey Dean Morgan set to appear in The Boys. The star of The Walking Dead, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, has recently been cast in Season 4 of The Boys. The Hollywood Reporter claims that for the time being, Morgan's part in Season 4 is being kept a secret. The actor will work alongside Jensen Ackles, who played Soldier Boy in the popular superhero series on Prime Video and was the actor's former Supernatural co-star. Prime Video recently released a celebratory meme on social media confirming the news, announcing the actor's upcoming debut in the franchise. Next up, Walking Dead's Pollyanna McIntosh to appear on Vikings Valhalla. More good news for the fans of The Walking Dead and Vikings Valhalla. The second season of the Netflix original series will feature Pollyanna McIntosh in the lead role. She recently announced her return to the show in the upcoming season on social media. She posted an image along with a comment expressing her love for the additional dialogue recording for scenes from Season 2. She also gave a shout out to the creators and organizers of Vikings Valhalla for coming up with such an amazing television series. Fans are really excited to see their favorite actor appear on the screen once again, and what's better than the equally popular Vikings Valhalla? And finally, Walking Dead is going to be back soon. Currently, in the middle of its final season, The Walking Dead is on hiatus. The fantastic 12-year run of the show will come to an end in the fall of 2022 with 8 episodes. Fans have been anxiously waiting for the final episodes, all the while dreading the end of their favorite show. The first of the final 8 episodes will air on AMC on October 2nd this year. AMC Plus will broadcast episodes 11-17 and 11-18 on the same day, with subsequent episodes airing 1 week early. The final episodes still have a lot of unfinished business, and the action-packed trailer shows several of our survivors in potentially life or death situations. So this one's definitely gonna be packed with a lot of action, and we can't wait. And that's a wrap for this video. What do you think of episode 3 of the Tales of the Walking Dead? Comment below and let us know. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more. See you in the next one.